When one domino falls, the rest will follow. Right now, we are watching the first dominoes starting to tip over. The rising food costs, I even notice when I go into the store, I see items that have never raised in price slowly climbing or quickly climbing. The fact that beef and meat are becoming luxury items is all I need to say. That is one of the very first dominoes to fall over. Now, the second domino is the debt and inflation. It is crushing families. It is crushing them left and right. People charging those essential items onto a credit card, trying to make the minimum payment, just trying to get by just a little bit. I grew up extremely poor. And I've seen this crunch where you're trying to just pay for some essentials with debt, and that debt continues to pile and pile until it's gone. What happens when they finally hit that max out on their card? Those essential items are no longer available to them. And that's going to cause people to go hungry. Not only that, but it's going to cause the housing market to completely cave in on itself. You're going to see repossessions on vehicles. They're already reporting those in the news. Repossessions on vehicles, home foreclosures are happening, elevated interest rates. It is crippling every single person. It's not just in the grocery stores. It's in your electric bill. It's in your taxes. You are seeing so much money just needed constantly. And it's hard to believe that this is where we are. And a lot of people don't believe that there is a domino effect happening. Every time one of these dominoes starts to tip over, the next one goes. When money runs out, food shelves will be empty. We all remember this. We remember this from the pandemic. I know there's people out there that say that they didn't see anything happen in the pandemic, but I was there. I was recording. I was watching. I was still shook by it. You know that old saying that when SHTF happens, the grocery stores will be empty. I believe what is it that they try to quote it at is like 70. It was gone in like 48 hours. The panic set in. That's why I believe that it's not a real analogy on the grocery stores. I think in the first day to 2 days, everything will be gone. It will be gone. And we saw it. We saw people fighting over toilet paper. I mean, come on, that one was the most public one ever. But the big issue was every item was gone. Items people don't even cook with because that panic sets in. That's a domino. When that panic sets in, people they go to the next stage. The next stage, shortages drive the panic and hoarding and skyrocketing prices. Does anybody remember the skyrocketing prices? This cost only this much. Oh no, we're raising the price. This is a high demand item. This is a hot item on the market. We need this item right now. And people started hoarding. I'm sure that there's people who can still build a pretend house out of their stacks of toilet paper. You could see it on the Facebook marketplaces, people selling toilet paper for astronomical cost. Because everybody has a gain. When things start to collapse and people start to get scared, they use their greed to their ability. Hungry families and unrest in the streets. That's pretty much across the board. We've seen it in history. We've seen that hunger leads to protests and riots and violence and inciting violence on people. As a mom, I ask myself, what can I do better? What can I do better? If my kids were to be hungry, if I knew that the lights weren't going to be turned on, I've told you, I grew up extremely poor. Our water got shut off. Our electricity got shut off. We had our car repossessed. I saw it. I saw it firsthand. I watched how that debt and that inflation and the crippling happened. I remember coming home from school, my mom's beat up car. I mean, it was like a 1996. I don't even remember what kind it was, but the tow truck was towing it away. It had been repossessed. It only had like 5 payments left on it. She lost it. And it was because she was stacking the need to have those essentials paid. And when it came down to it, the essentials were more of a priority than the vehicle. And I don't want to see people get into that. We have to learn to bridge those gaps. As a mom, I always try to find out, and as a wife, what areas am I lacking in? One of the areas that I feel that I fall back on over and over is protein. You'll hear me talk a lot about it. Growing up poor, meat was a luxury. And now seeing meat turn into a luxury again for everyone, it scares me. It scares me to my core, knowing that meat is becoming a luxury. Because I knew if there was a meal that had meat in it, it was a good week. A week, not a daily thing, not a multiple days a week thing. It was once a month, once every 2 weeks. My mom was just trying to make it by. We had moved away from our family and she just wanted to do it on her own. And she tried her best, her absolute best. But a lot of you guys don't know, like, I didn't have a dad. I didn't have somebody who paid child support or anything. It was just me and my mom was a teen mom and she was making her way through. So trust me when I say I understand hardship. I understand the hardship of it. One of the only meals that I knew that was guaranteed was free lunch. I was watching some articles. A lunch lady got fired last year, in the spring of this year, in 2025, because she was giving more food to kids who had a negative balance on their lunches. A negative balance on their lunches. She got fired. She said she knew it was wrong, but she knew the kids were hungry. It was people like that that kept me alive during some moments of my life. People like that. And I don't want to see that for my kids. And I don't want to see that for anybody else's family. I don't want to see you making the choice between essential items or a roof over your head. I want you guys to be 10 steps ahead. The next domino is the government. Once there is civil unrest, people are outspoken. They're upset. The prices are higher. People are angry. The government's going to do the number one thing that the government knows how to do. Control. I hate to go back to the pandemic, but we have to. It was a prime example. News of the pandemic came out. Next, the panic buying set in. The what ifs. People's jobs were getting cut. What happened? Lockdowns. We're going to ration. You have a limit of what you are allowed to buy when you go to the grocery store. There's going to be a limit. We saw it in World War II. My family personally saw it during World War II. We still have our ration cards. They start rationing. When things get out of control, the only thing the government knows how to do is control. Rationing, lockdowns, and potentially martial law. Look at DC right now. Not saying it's going to happen, but I keep saying it's like a mock trial right now. We get to find out how fast we're going to be moving towards martial law. How well their plan is. Are they just going to do what they say and leave? Or is it going to be much worse? Last thing I want is martial law. These are all things that have a probability to happen. We've already seen it. We saw it less than 5 years ago. Lockdowns. You can't come out. Rationing. I'm sorry. I know you want to buy one. I know you have a large family, 2 gallons of milk. I'm so sorry. The limit is 1. We've seen it. And it's coming again. And every one of those dominoes is going to tap another domino and it is going to continue all the way through. Just like the windshield, I said, you get chips and cracks. It's the same saying, just a different analogy. You get those chips in your window and those cracks. Sooner or later, all those cracks are going to combine. They're going to merge in together. And that's when it's going to start to really wreck people. At this point, I can no longer do prevention. I can no longer just say, hey, I'm trying to prevent you guys from witnessing it. Right now, it's going to turn into survival. It's here. Meat is becoming a luxury. Groceries are a luxury. Nobody's going to be doing vacations. Nobody's going to be eating out. You already see job losses. It's no longer, I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to start prepping next month. It is today. It is today. If you go and look at my Let's Go Prepping at Costco video, I'm going to tell you right now, a buddy heater went up $30 since last year. $30 increase. $30 since January. That's the last time I filmed one of the buddy heaters. It's here, guys. It's here. And it is rippling through. It is hitting every single domino. You have all those cracks and they're merging together, and sooner or later it's going to break. And why does this all matter? Why does it matter that I'm talking to you about dominoes and windshields and all these things cracking at the same time? Why does it matter? Because you can't stop it. You cannot stop the cracks. You cannot stop the collapse, and you cannot stop dominoes from falling and hitting each other. You can't stop it, but you can step out of it. You can step sideways out of that line. So if you're holding on to what gaps you have in your preps, okay, I feel like one of the biggest ones I always feel like is a gap. I don't think it's truly a gap for me, but I think it's because I grew up not having meat on a constant basis. Meat will always be one where I'm like, we need a little bit more. We need to do a little bit more. We need more protein in it. Some people, it could be, fresh fruits or vegetables, or medical. Like I use Jase Medical. Today we had to use medical. It made me write down a note and say, okay, I need to reorder a kit for my daughter because she has strep throat. She has all the symptoms. We knew it. We were able to treat for it. So I went and leaned on Jase. You can step out of the line of those dominoes falling down. You have the power too. So no matter what, you know that if this one hits, the next one hits. Gas prices keep increasing, truck transportation, the supply chain will be affected. There could be shortages, price increases, all of these things. You got tariffs in there, you have coffee. I mean, we've touched on all of these on my previous video. You know what's coming. We've talked about it. It's written on every headline. You can step out of the race. Before the collapse hits, before your supply chain hits, you can create your own supply chain. It's so crucial right now to have cash on hand. So incredibly crucial. Why? Because you can physically save. Cards are too easy to swipe. Tap, pay, click your phone, tap, pay. They've made it so convenient you don't realize the dollar amount that's coming out. I highly suggest that you start reeling back the way you're spending. Really focus in on where your gaps are. Really create that bridge, because those gaps is what happens. And then the gap gets so far apart that you can't make a bridge. So where your gaps are smaller, you start mending those areas. It's up to you. What's one of the reasons that you guys prep? Is it for a job loss? Is it for SHTF? For me, it's about sleep. I know that sounds weird, but I do prep to sleep better. When I go to sleep, I don't worry about the stock market crashing. I don't worry about Bitcoin or invisible currency. I don't worry about those things. When I go to sleep, I know that there's going to be new news headlines that will hit. There always is every day. Aren't you guys feeling overwhelmed by it? It's every day. There's something new. Something new. But the reason I prep is so I can sleep better. I do. I sleep better. I go, okay, well, I guess if all of our 401k is gone one day, that sucks. Okay, well, we put stuff aside and we've set ourselves up. We're living very frugal and making sure that we can get by each and every day in a positive manner. It allows me to sleep better, knowing, yep, there's a new headline. Is it World War III? Are we going to fight someone? What is happening? And I just focus on the things that I can control, because I can't control those headlines. I cannot control the government, but I can control where I get hit by a domino. Yeah, there's going to be dominoes out there that I cannot control. There's going to be things out there that could potentially affect my family that I have no control over. But the ones that I do have control, I want to make sure I control that the same way the government likes to control things when things get a little chaotic. They like control. So for me, it's making sure that I stay very organized, on top of things, knowing where my gaps are. And if you missed my video on hardships and those times, the hard times are coming, please go back and check it out. It's great. It really covers these more in depth. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to remove ourselves out of that domino effect. What things we can control and the things that we can't control, and how we can move and maneuver through what is happening, because it is extremely chaotic right now in the world. Things are crippling and the cracks are happening. So as always, stay aware, stay prepared, and always have your head on a swivel, and I will see you tomorrow.